Hello, and welcome to The Rare Agent, where we pull back the curtain on all things real estate. We're your hosts, Jennifer, Christina, and Kelly, and we're offering up a judgment-free space for collaboration over competition. Today, we have the epic undercover agent known as Justin Bregman. Justin is one of the most humble, hardworking agents in the industry. He's in the top 1% of all realtors, 30 under 30, and has sold
35 now. I'm a little older.
Okay. But that's okay.
Calm
And has
down.
sold over 300 million in real estate.
A little more than that, but yes.
Just a little bit. Just humble.
Yeah.
Very, very humble agent. But welcome, Justin. Welcome to our roundtable discussions.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This
Thanks
is
for
awesome.
coming.
Yeah, we're so excited.
Yeah,
So happy to have you as our first guest. We chatted a little bit before we got started, and you really are the undercover agent. You don't boast on social media. We don't see you everywhere, but you are literally one of the top agents in Toronto. So we just love your humble attitude and your success.
I would say every other day I see something being bought and sold, but I think it's actually like multiple times during the day that I see things being bought and sold by you. So
Thank you. I mean, look, it happened. It happened organically. I mean, obviously, I don't think anyone that comes in this business can say that they do that in their first couple of years. But the big thing is I don't really spend money at all on marketing. It's purely from just hustling and speaking to a million people all the time and putting deals in people's faces that are good opportunities.
that's awesome. I absolutely love it. Okay, so we're going to get right into it though. But before we do, I want to hear a little bit more about your history and why you became a real estate agent. How did it all happen for you?
So I actually wanted to do this since I was 16 years old. In fact,
That's wild.
I wanted to do this right out of high school, and my parents said, first of all, go get an undergrad degree. You're not knocking on someone's door at 18 years old and selling $1 million properties. So I went to Brock University. My background is in sport broadcasting, actually. So you can be the judge if I'm okay on camera and audio and everything so far. But I was doing my real estate license well in undergrad at the same time.
Wow,
So I actually got
amazing.
my license just almost 11 years ago now.
Wow.
I got it when I was just as I turned 20. But I started with leases, I guess after I finished undergrad. I was doing a few leases while I was working at Sportsnet, actually covering the Blue Jays in my sport broadcasting background.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so that's where I sort of started, and I actually started to lease a few of the players their places. I still do that to this day. I've kept in quite a bit of contact with many people within the Blue Jay organization and within Sportsnet and their family as well. But I quickly realized that the path of where I wanted to go at Sportsnet was quite a challenging growth pattern. And I was making more money doing rentals in real estate than I was working basically as a coffee man at Sportsnet at that time.
That's crazy.
So so I started off. I probably did about. I think my first year did 4 leases, and the next year I really took it seriously, and I did about 75 leases.
Bit of a jump.
Wow.
Yeah, still no sales. And then by year 3, I think I might have done 50 leases, 6 sales, and then by year 3 or 4, I kind of really, obviously, didn't have as much time to do the leases, and really was focusing on buying and selling and investors.
I feel like we're connecting a lot of dots with you. I was talking to you the other week, and I didn't realize you were such a sports fan, and now it's all connecting.
Yes.
You're very passionate.
We almost weren't here today, right? Because if the Leafs were playing Boston, I was planning to go there,
100%.
which would have been awesome. But whatever, we got to be lucky that the Leafs are finally won a round in the last 19
It's
years. They
true.
haven't done it, so.
It's true. Hopping in, you said you were doing 75 leases in your second year. That's a lot. That's
Yes.
really busy. But I think for a lot of newer agents, how did you do that? How did you get 75 leases?
Well, I mean, you guys know better than anyone. Like leases, not only are they're sometimes more work and harder to do than a purchase,
Absolutely,
right?
for
So,
sure.
it was a grind. The number one thing, and I have many agents on my team, and I've trained and spoken to so many over the years. But the number one thing I really feel a realtor needs, and you can't train this, is hustle.
For sure.
It's one thing I think I have that I just think in those early stages, and even still now, I mean, I was working like 8 a.m. till midnight, 1 a.m. Like people think and see on social media that, it looks so fun and easy. There's a lot of difficulties in this business and a lot of challenges that we face and roadblocks every day. But I think that's what makes it so much fun too.
For sure.
Is that it's not a 9 to 5, exactly the same, day job every single day. It's every day is different. I can't tell you what I'm going to do yet tomorrow, but I know that some things are going to happen.
For sure. And that was actually one of the things we wanted to talk to you about, because we say, like, what does Justin do every day? We know you're hustling. We know you're up all night. We know you're on the phone calls. And obviously every day is different. But if you could make one day that's probably your most common day, how does that play out for you?
Yeah, it's so hard to explain. I know, like, because like I can't even explain it myself, because like things just happen. Honestly, out of a whim, like every single day. Like, I mean, I woke up this morning. I couldn't tell you when I went to bed last night that I would be submitting any offers today, and I have 3 submitted this morning.
That's wild.
Wow.
And that's because properties came out that people are really aggressively looking for, or properties that, in the last few weeks that I've shown them that now they all of a sudden decided to pull the trigger, and they're going on right now. And a listing appointment that I'm meeting Saturday morning that called me this morning that last night I did not even know was going to even exist or happen, right? So every day is crazily different, but I try to, the biggest thing is I always try to stick to obviously my network and prospecting. The first thing I like to do every day is look for properties that I think I can put the pieces of the puzzle together on. So a lot of times, agents sort of, get the specs of people like, they want to buy a 3-bedroom house in this area. And so they just look online and wait for one of those to come out. I like to do the opposite, where I will look at what new came on the market today, and I know the person that might suit best, and I present the opportunity to them. So it's really kind of the opposite way of thinking.
I love that strategy. So many realtors are like, I'm a matchmaker. You really are a matchmaker.
And I try like in that, and you also can really, I guess now at this stage of my career, I can really gauge, also who's kind of, really gung-ho to purchase in the next few weeks here, or who's like 6 to 12 or even 2 years away. And being able to obviously, strategize with that as well, because there's nothing more important or valuable to us in our business is more than our time. And you can waste your time in so many different ways in this business. So, really trying to get a gauge as well. Sometimes, some people on my team are asking me about leases, and, I could tell right away with the rental application or their profile, like they're just not going to get accepted, especially with you guys knowing how competitive the rental market is right now.
Yeah.
So, I sometimes tell people, like, as hard as it is to just not take on a client, you spinning your wheels for 2 or 3 weeks with that person isn't going to help you make any money either.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
A really smart, a really smart comment.
That's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way through my career, was like, okay, yeah, they want to buy, but if they can't do, like, if they're not qualified, or if they don't like what they can afford,
Right.
Stop wasting your time, right? And that is something that I've taken, that is a hard lesson that I take a little bit of time to learn sometimes, or I feel guilty giving up, or it's not giving up, it's just like believing the data, or making it, just knowing when to say, like, I should probably spend my time somewhere else. And that's something that I've had to learn over the time.
Yeah, and all it takes is asking great questions, right? Like, whether it's a buyer or a renter, like, to understand a little bit more about their profile. Like, if someone's out looking with you at $2 or $3 million places, and they're not giving you any signs that they can afford this, I could show them $10 million places if they just want to go see something cool for fun. But
Sure.
you got to respect your time and realize, because, all of us here, like, we've got many clients, and, we can only be in one place at a time.
Yeah.
I think so many realtors just can't let go of that. What if? What if that opportunity actually pans out?
Right.
And like I don't know if you heard about, like, Ryan Seacrest had this like magical client who like ended up buying like a $10 million penthouse.
Ryan Serhan.
Yeah.
Did I say
was
what did I
just gonna
say?
say-
Sure.
I was just going to say.
Shoot. Oh, okay. Anyways,
I was agreeing. I was like, yeah.
I was like, well, he's got a lot of money. Maybe he's buying
Right?
something. But like,
I was like, yeah, that makes total sense to me.
Totally.
I used to watch American Idol
SSS.
back in the day. I was a big fan.
I know. He just broke
Yeah.
up the whole Kelly and Ryan Seacrest thing. Anyways, that was in the news earlier. And anyways,
Bringing it back.
bringing it back down. So Ryan Serhan basically had this like magical client that like fell from the sky, and I think so many realtors choose not to ask those questions because they're, I don't know, just in belief mode that something magical is going to happen. But asking those pertinent questions is so valuable in getting your time back and like assessing who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
For sure.
Agreed.
I think too, when you're speaking to leases, you're also saving the clients the pain of just getting rejected over and over. If you don't tell them, unfortunately, you're not a strong applicant, they don't know. Per
Right.
se. So
Yeah, they don't know.
that's important. So obviously, you've reached a level of success that I think most agents would dream to achieve. What's your secret sauce, Justin? If you could pinpoint one thing that you think has brought you to this point, what would it be?
Look, I've had some great mentors along the way, and I really think that a lot of people, even just in our office, if you see kind of when they do training in our office and how, the first training session has 60 people and then the decline from there, consistency is key. Consistency of being able to, execute on whatever your plans are in terms of your marketing plan or your prospecting or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Hustle and consistency are really two pillars that come together, because if you guys don't put in the time, like I see realtors that do a deal and then they go out and buy a crazy car or go on a vacation for a month or whatever. Like if I go away for a month, that means I'm probably not going to make money for like 3 or 4 months, because the day I come home is just the day I'm going to restart the process. And by the time the next person is ready to buy and close, you're talking about maybe not making money for like 3 or 4 months at a time. Mm-hmm. So it's not a sprint. This business is a marathon, and you have to continue to keep in touch with people. And so that's what I would really just say. It's not like a crazy science that like I think many other people could do what I'm doing. I don't think it's really luck here. I think at the end of the day, it's just putting in the hard work that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. To your point, I think Adam always tells us the gym analogies. And, at the end of the day, we all know if you want to lose weight, you eat healthy and you go to the gym. And I think to your point, we all know it's consistency, it's hustle, it's relationships.
Not just for a week, for sure.
For sure, yes. 100%. And we also know that you've built a team over your time in this industry.
I have, yes.
How do you feel that helped elevate your business?
It's really opened up time. Like that's the big thing for me. And it was needed. I was nervous to do it at the beginning. I was nervous also to take on a full-time assistant, to pay a full-time assistant's salary out of obviously my own pay, when pay in our business is, we can't control when it's going to come. Some months are amazing and some months are completely dry.
Sure.
But I realized that like really a team opens up time. It allowed me to be able to focus more on my own business. And you have to be comfortable at a certain point in time to realize that like making something on a deal is better than nothing.
100%.
And so I'm more than happy to, give some of my business away to my team and have them, succeed and grow themselves, because these are deals that I probably would not have been able to do if I didn't have them.
For sure.
And it happened again organically. Like once I started getting to a point where I was doing 75 leases in a year, like at the beginning of my career, and then they started all turning into buyers. Right? Well, how do I manage 75 buyers as one person, especially when they're probably all first-time home buyers? And you guys all know, you just sold a property last night and multiple offers. Like things under $1 million right now are crazy.
Yeah, like there's just so much more hand-holding when it's when it's their first time as well.
Yes.
For sure.
For sure.
So you've leveraged out your team. So with that, generally speaking, when people leverage out their team, they kind of decide what their main role is within their team. What would you say are your 3 core duties within your team to help everyone thrive?
My job, I guess, it's got to be a two-way street. Sorry?
I like that question.
It was good. Yeah.
Not on the sheet.
Going outside the box. I like it. You can drill me and
throw some curveballs at you.
No problem. I wasn't prepared for that, but I'm ready for it. So I guess, look, it's got to be a two-way street. Mm-hmm. Both me and a team member have to benefit, or there's no point of this kind of working. It's not where I don't think any teams where the team leader's taking all the money away from the team members is ever a format that really would get great success for both sides. So the main, I guess, benefit to me is my team members helping me open up time for myself. That's really the main benefit to me. Mm-hmm. The main benefit to them is getting all these opportunities that they would never have without me. But the bigger thing is also on their own business, me physically being that finishing to close the deal for them. Whether that's to come to their listing appointment with them to not only close the deal, but obviously be paid properly for obviously the business and the services and everything that we provide. But when it comes to purchasing a property, and a million questions that come up with scenarios all the time. I'll give you guys a crazy one. Yesterday, we're looking at a property, and one of my team members went to go see it with the clients. And then they wanted to go back a second time to get one more peek at it, to go see it again. And I went and saw it, and on the listing it says it's a 15 by 120 foot semi-detached lot in the Trinity Bellwoods area. And it says it has one parking spot in the back. And I went to my team member and I said, did you or your client go look in the backyard at the parking and everything? And they're like, no, we just looked at the sheet and said it has parking. And I go back, there's no parking that I could see anywhere with this property. So we go on the public records after, and we're talking with a lawyer, and we realize that there is a parcel of land behind that is owned by somebody else. But long story short, the person died in 1893.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And
Wild.
there is just, I guess it's now, it's been a right of way for over 100 and I guess now it's 130 years that there's just been an agreement between all 6 homes there that everybody gets to share this lane and park in this sort of spot and block each other in, and it's chaos. And they are thinking about going through the city of Toronto and putting separate pins to give everybody a plot of the land. But like, this is crucial information that my client needs to know. The seller didn't disclose, the listing agent didn't disclose. And if we bought this, with no conditions, it's buyer beware.
Oh, for sure.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's a really unique one.
Yeah. So just being able to help my team with when it comes to situations like that, or when it comes to being in multiple offers and what to do with these properties. Fortunately, now being such a full-time active agent in the city, I would give it like at least a 50% chance that I know the listing agent on most of these listings, especially in the pockets where a lot of our clients look. So I have a really good relationship to also understand what to do and what it takes to speak with the other side in getting the deal done. Something that something that's a lot more challenging if I was out in Hamilton or somewhere where I don't, have that same relationship, for sure.
Makes sense.
Well, when I first heard you speak, you kind of told us about, you presented the way you do your business in front of the whole brokerage, and you presented your idea where you present the property to your clients. And at that point where I was in my business, I had a couple people that were investors that were, it was just not fitting. And I swear I did 3 deals that way after I spoke after you spoke, because I was
Do I get a referral fee?
no, because I still have to find them and show them.
Just kidding.
But I totally, but thank you, because as much as you know that's a way to do your business or a way to get people off the fence, it was one of those, just listening to you and listening to the confidence behind you, and also sometimes even being around you in the office and knowing that, like, I get shy. Like, how many times should you call somebody, or how many times should you, and your tenacity to just continue to lead generate and make sure that you're on top of mind and continue to reach out to people. For a realtor like myself, who just kind of likes to work by referral and let people, come to me, but do good work so they come. I really I've taken that into my business, and it's been really helpful, especially in a market like we're in. But I would never have been exposed to the way you do business, because most of the time I've been exposed the opposite way, where it's just not like where we're too cool to call or too cool to just hunt for the business. And I really appreciated that when I first met you.
My pleasure. And kudos to you, because however many people were listening on that, I don't know, 60 agents in our office or whatever, but you're probably one of 5 that actually took that in and executed it. That's the big thing in this business. It's not like I have some crazy science to the way I do things. I'm consistent, and I actually follow through with them. And a lot of people, because it's very self-motivated business, and no one's waking up and calling us in the morning and saying, why haven't you done this? Because we don't have a boss. It's not the right fit necessarily for everybody.
Yeah, I've had a few calls this week from other agents where they're just kind of like, oh, how do you deal with how you get paid, or how you do, we don't get paid. And I said, that is just the nature of the beast. And you either got to accept it, or, that's why the turnover rate in this business is so high, because people don't want to do that first 2 years of grunt work. They're just like, oh, they lease. Most of the time it's like people complaining about leases. And I'm like, this is what we have to do to actually become well-rounded realtors, how to deal with problems, how to deal with clients. Like, these leases that you're struggling with are going to help you get to the bigger pots. And a lot of people don't really want to do it. And it's really refreshing to hear people, someone like you that is at the top of your game. You're like, that's what I got to do. That's what you have to do. And just do it or lump it. That's it.
Whatever it takes. Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So in this market, how are you putting, if you had a seller right now, how are you maximizing the value of the home? For your sellers, what are you doing to maximize the value when you sell a property?
I mean, the biggest thing I believe on any property when it comes to selling it, there's only 2 reasons why a property doesn't sell. It's either overpriced or undermarketed. And I think that the bigger thing too is, there's 70,000 or so agents on TREP, but out of that 70,000, how many are actually full-time versus part-time. There's a million that are part-time. And I think that it just baffles me that even a seller would use a part-time agent to sell their property. We're all full-time here, of course. And so why I'm getting to that is because I think that you really got to be fully in tune and active with the market around where you're selling, because we've seen over the last 3 years, ever since COVID started, so many different markets, right? Everybody thought when COVID started and the world was going to collapse, that the market was going to crash, and it went the opposite way. And then interest rates went crazy and we saw a correction happen. And believe it or not, the interest rates are at the highest point right now and the market's on fire again.
Yeah.
So it's really being in touch and knowing, and there's also sub-markets going on where there's some areas that are, being quite slow and really heavily affected. And there's other areas that are actually, I could show you year over year, are up because of all this, because there's just, huge demand and really low supply in certain spots.
That's very hard. I just have to jump in there. There's very hard for buyers to digest that, though,
Yeah.
especially because they're like, but the market's down. What do you mean? Well, it depends on where. If you're in a hot market, you're in a hot market. End of story. So I just wanted to jump in and say that, because I'm dealing with so many buyers where the angst of having to be like, well, what do you mean? There's 12 offers. Why? How? Market's
Right.
down. I'm like, not anymore.
Exactly.
So.
Right. And so knowing kind of the product that you have and what it's going to be, and if there's really lack of supply in that area right now, I mean, I'm a big guy that likes to do multiple offers.
We know you do.
And in a lot of, situations, I think it's the best route to get the client the most amount of money, to sell it in the least amount of stress and the least amount of time, and get them the closing need that they're looking for, because a lot of times they're buying and selling. And so we want to be able to line that up as best as possible. So, again, I don't like to overprice a property, because I don't think there's any benefit of doing that. Some sellers think if their house is worth $2 million, let's list it at 2.2. I always try to think about one step ahead, right? If you list at 2.2, what's plan B? Only plan is to reduce the price. Yeah, if after 30 days you got nothing going on. Well, what's plan B if you underlist the property and you don't get what you want? You just list it for what you actually want.
For sure.
There's, so being one step ahead always is really important as well.
Agreed. What are the most common mistakes home buyers make, and how can you avoid them?
Well, I've seen a lot. But, sometimes buying a home quicker than you buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that too.
So getting too emotionally attached, feeling sometimes like they just need to win, and just paying through the roof because of that. So sometimes I try to tell people, and I think one of the biggest things that a lot of my clients appreciate me is I'm a no pressure, no rush approach. Unfortunately, sometimes the market is going to pressure them or rush them. And if there's an offer that comes in tonight, I'm going to let them know, of course, and they're going to feel the pressure, but that's not from me. That's from the market. Other than that, if they want to wait a couple weeks, a couple months, by all means, I'll let them know the pros and cons of their decisions, because I've seen some people get priced out of the market by waiting. But the biggest mistakes I want to say is a lot of times, you guys probably can agree this, not listening to us. It's one of the biggest mistakes buyers make, because a lot of times it happens that a buyer needs to lose before they win.
Oh, that happens so often.
Yeah.
So often.
And then they're chasing the one they lost.
Right. And it never, and that price is never going to be there again. And they always compare to that home that they missed out on.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what they need in order to move forward on the next one, right?
Yeah.
They need to feel that hurt in order to actually achieve any, home ownership goals they have.
For
Or
sure.
to realize that they don't have as much leverage as they think they do.
Do you ever tell
Sometimes.
anybody I told you so? Just curious. Have you
actually-
ever done it? Or
I
you're just like,
don't, because it's like the jab that they just don't want to
You
hear.
just know?
They
No.
sort of know,
I was
right?
gonna say they
Yeah.
might come to you and be like, "Remember?"
Yeah. Yeah.
sit back casually and smile. You're like,
Yeah, but sometimes I've had a client where it's holding a bidding war at 1.5, and they're like, they're not going to get more than 1.550. And then I just, the next day, good morning, just want to let you know it sold for 1.9. Let me know if you have any questions.
how happy are you to
It's
send
like-
that email? Though let's keep it real.
Of course,
Come on, come on.
But
I always like to get the
It's
wow.
but they just, again, that's where they just need to learn sometimes. But so I guess to answer the question, yeah, a lot of times it's not listening to us. Sometimes a part of not listening to us too, I tell so many people, especially in areas that are competitive, which is a lot of the areas I work in Toronto here, get pre-approved first. And so many don't. And then, they just like, I don't want to get my job letter, my credit score. I just want to go see this property today, but it's a bidding war in 3 days from now. How are we going to buy this? You don't even know what you're approved for. And then they either realize that and then it's too late because they can't make it happen in 3 days, or they offer conditional and just help the place just bid higher.
Right.
And just really help the seller. So those are kind of the areas where they, my best advice is everybody looks online first at the property they want to buy, but really the route should be mortgage broker, realtor, lawyer. And but the first thing they want to do is go see the house.
They're just excited.
Yeah.
They're just excited to get out there and start seeing stuff. They don't want to do all the boring paperwork and admin stuff like, I got the job letter. I got to collect this bank statement and all
they
that.
think it's priced at what the value is.
Yeah. And I get it sometimes.
Yeah.
The other thing that, just one more, but you probably see, I rip on this one all the time because I find it so laughable. Especially all my clients that love doing this now. You guys all have House Sigma?
Oh, yeah.
They all think the estimated value is what it should sell for because of this algorithm that they use. But how could it get 1.8, Justin, if House Sigma says it's only worth 1.5?
So funny.
All the time. And then when I'm holding offers too, my clients freak out and saying, are people going to really pay over asking? Because House Sigma says it's only worth this price. Like, how are we going to get more? Everyone's going to use the app. What are you guys talking about?
What's your hashtag again?
Trust Just.
Exactly.
I love that.
So,
what's your advice for someone who's selling their home though in this like current market, like the last like week or so?
my advice, okay, so
Because I feel like the market just went from slow, hot, and extra hot just now in the last like 10 days.
yeah, like again in different areas, like I would say, like we're obviously our office is in CO4, like this is Midtown Toronto. Like supply has actually picked up a little bit in the last few weeks, so I would actually like it's hard to say if I don't think it's any hotter than it was a few weeks ago because there's a few more options for buyers at the moment, but it really comes down to when it like. If they're selling, are they obviously, because you're asking if they're selling, are they selling and buying as well at the same time? And really figuring out for so many people what makes sense first. It's always a conversation I have with people. Lately, most people have wanted to buy first. It's always riskier to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I know most people want to know where they're going and they think it's going to take a long time to find what they want. But they have to understand that buying first, if the market is not what they think it is, and that's why I always give them conservative prices on what I think their home is worth, because just in case you buy and you really stretch to buy that perfect property and now you think you're going to get what you hope for your house and it doesn't happen, you got to have some rainy day funds for those moments.
For sure.
So I think it really depends on their financial situation, how much debt they have, in terms of deciding, my advice on selling or buying first.
For sure. I just have a few clients that specifically, the reason I asked that is I have a few clients who are like, wow, they've actually kind of noticed like, oh, wow, look at what the market has done. The summer's coming though. So should we just like hop out there and sell now, see what we can get and, maybe do a renovation on the basement or not do a renovation, just put it out there and see if we can get like a really, really hot price. Do you recommend that people do any kind of renovations before they go on the market, or is this current climate so hot that it would take it and run? I guess I know it depends on the pocket, but
well, it depends on the reno. Like depends on how much you're talking from a reno.
So let's use these guys as an example.
Yeah.
If it's an unfinished basement,
yes,
and then there's homes in the neighborhood that have the finished basement, should they finish the basement?
I think the one problem with these, so I don't know what you think the base was going to cost them if they gave you a quote. Like, is it 30 to 50,000 or something?
Let's say it's going to cost. I mean, if Uncle Bob does it, it's going to cost like 40 grand.
Right. And how long is it going to take Uncle Bob? Because that's the problem. Because if now you're selling this in July or August, which we typically find a little bit of a slowdown in the market because you're probably not going to be able to close in time for the new school year. August is the number one vacation month of the year. A lot of families, obviously, camp usually ends, families go away, et cetera. It could be a bit of a slower time. So you might put in the 40,000 and not get any more for it by waiting on the timeline. If I would just, understand that you're going to have a little bit of a discount from the finished product, but if they're relatively reasonable, you think on what they're looking to get for it based on comparative like market sales recently, I'd go for it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I do.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Those nuggets are just absolutely golden. Okay.
I think the reno will take longer than they think.
Absolutely. But it's always that okay, but what if we miss this? Like this is happening
Yeah.
again now. It was dead for so long. Like 2022, guys, we took a nosedive. Like everybody
Yeah.
panicked, and with good reason. And now here we are, and we're kind of seeing that last like up there. And what is that thing? Oh my God, dead cat bounce. Is it a dead cat bounce? Like, are we going to go
time I
back
hear that,
up?
I'm like,
I
what is this?
know. But is it that
Yeah,
like,
it's a U right
graph
now.
chart where we kind of go up and then we're just going to go crashing back down? And I know we're not
I think the
fortune
summer will
tellers,
level
but
off.
yeah.
And then we'll probably see another up and then
I think
level
rates
off.
are going to be a big impact too,
Yes.
right? Like I hear it different from everybody, right? Are they just going to leave them flat for the next while? Are they going to go up because it doesn't seem like it's really working? I mean, the market's back on fire. There's a ton of buyer confidence out there. Are they going to lower them? Because then I think it can get even crazier.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And the city of Toronto, just in and of itself, I feel like we're fairly solid for at least the next little bit. And we might go parallel or lateral, like, just do like a lateral kind of move for a few months. But again, I'm not a fortune teller, so I'm going to stop right here, right now. But let's get on to some fun stuff, okay? I want to hear your best real estate story. It can be anything you want. Fun, quirky, horrific, crazy.
Well,
Give her.
the first ever showing I ever did in this business
It always comes back to
I know
the
we all did our first
I
too.
know.
was it was in City Place, a condo downtown.
Classic.
It was tenanted, and the oven door wasn't even on the oven anymore. It was
wow.
on the floor.
Nice.
There was clothes everywhere, macaroni half eaten on the countertop.
Love that.
And I'm going with my first ever client. This was like $2,100 a month for like a 1+ den or something with parking, which I think is now like 28 or something,
For
or
sure.
29. And they're like not afraid of the fact that this place is upside down. And then a mice comes out from under the bed
No.
Oh no! During the showing, God.
during
no.
the showing.
Wow. Okay.
And it was only the 4th floor. Like, I don't know how the mouse even got there. Like, this is a condo. Like,
was gonna
did
say,
it
in
go
a
through the
condo.
vents, or I don't know where it came from, but it was like,
Oh goodness.
and my first ever client, and I'm like, so like, is this my fault? Am I going to lose the client now? And no, they ended up getting another place. But like, that was my first ever experience in the business, and I'm just like, welcome to the industry.
Oh yeah,
my
welcome
God.
to
Yeah.
like as soon as you go home, you take your socks off and you just like wash your hands.
Yes.
You're just like the
Yeah.
things we see are
That's so
wild.
disturbing
So
to me. But
15 Ice Boat Terrace. I wouldn't just
Oh,
kill
that one.
the value of the whole building, but
I've
15
heard
Ice
a
Boat
lot
Terrace.
of horror stories about
Yeah,
that one.
and
From its
it was
like
Airbnb
conception
friendly
and-
for a while. It was built pretty cheap. I mean, people refer to City Place these days as shitty place.
Yeah,
They do.
that's the
Yeah.
one that has the extreme penthouse that's across both towers.
It does,
Correct?
It does. Yes.
Wasn't that for sale recently?
Yeah, the bridge or something. It's like
Yeah, the
four,
bridge.
four or
Always been
five
for sale,
million.
from what I've
Yeah.
heard.
Is it
It's
still for
always-
sale? It's
it's-
just
It's
consistently.
a nice unit in kind of a unfortunate building.
Doesn't have the best reputation.
Yeah.
Can I just say something because we're in the fun section of this
Yes.
podcast? Does anybody else fear like if like you're living in that condo, like there's literally nothing underneath you?
Oh, in the
does,
bridge?
Does that not scare? Would that not
I think
scare
there's
you?
no balcony too on it, right?
I would hope not.
I don't think there is.
Like
on
there's
that, yeah.
nothing underneath you. You're just kind of suspended in midair.
Yeah.
You definitely can't have a fear of heights if you're living
yeah.
there.
I can't. Every time I think of it, no. Anyways. Okay, so
I feel like they should
moving
build
on.
something off it, like a slide down or
That
something.
would be
Like-
fun. You could get creative.
Yeah.
Like an avalanche ice boat? No. Anyways,
Okay.
okay. We're getting off
Nice
topic
to
here.
Long Hotel.
Okay. So, Justin, let's ask you, what is the best advice that you would give a new agent in the industry? We know that you're a team leader, would it be to join a team or
Yeah, it was the biggest mistake I made in the beginning. So I started at Royal LePage. I chose it because I was like, okay, let me pick a brand so I could be like, hey, I'm Justin from Royal LePage. Everyone can be like, oh, he works for a brand. We'll trust him because he works for that brand, even though, as we all know, like the brokerage, really you're the brand, and the brokerage, supports us, but it doesn't support the client at all. And now, obviously, like 99% of people don't even ask me where I work because they want Justin. They don't want the brand, the brokerage or whatever to help them. But the reason I say to join a team or at least a really good mentor is because I think at the beginning, you go through those courses or whatever to get your license. When I did it, it was only 3 courses and then like online and then 3 more as you work. Now I know there's a whole George Brown college program. But the big thing I would say is when you go and have a mentor or a team leader, the biggest thing is for them to help you with any situations that you can call them about. My first or second lease or whatever I was doing, I had a question, and I was at Royal LePage York Community Realty, which has about 1,000 agents.
Yeah.
And I called the manager to ask a question, and they said they'll get back to you within 72 hours.
Oh boy.
And I said, the deal's dead. Like, so I just had to wing it. I remember I was like asking my dad, and like, I mean, he's in science, like he's like, doesn't know anything about this, and he's like trying to read like this rental contract with me because I didn't know what to fill out on this lease. I'm like, for trying to figure out the utilities. I didn't know what a hot water tank was. Like, I knew nothing. And so the biggest thing I think at the beginning for anybody is to be able to get support. For sure. That's the big thing. And to come into this full time, so many people try to come into this part time because they don't want to go from whatever their income is to zero. And I get it. It's scary and it's a risk, but you have to, like, the first thing I did when I came in this business is I took out a line of credit to, like, because I needed some money for just whatever, parking, gas, everything that you do at the beginning. Because just like if you're going to open up a restaurant, like, you start in the hole and then you come out of it, right? Like, so the part-time people, I know so many people do that, but I just feel like you're not giving 100% of your undivided attention. And I don't know how clients would ever find it acceptable if someone says, like, sorry, I have my other job the next 3 nights. I'll go out with you on Saturday to see that place. Like, I don't even know. Like, so that's where I really think that's my best advice to a
You have to treat it like a business.
Yeah, like how are you ready when, you know, you say that you don't even know what your tomorrow is going to look like for you. So all of us kind of feel that way sometimes. You kind of have structure, but it could be anything. If you're part-time, how are you even prepared mentally to, like, have days like that? How are you able to work off the cuff when you're trying to do this part-time? It just doesn't make sense. It just seems difficult to me to be able to, like, be an expert and sell somebody or do something for someone that's, like, so expensive.
I have a confession.
Jen was part-time.
I was a part-time agent.
And
there's bills to pay.
For like 10 years, I was a part-time agent.
Did you never have what was your
It
other
was
job?
absolute chaos. No, but
She
here's
had
the
a
thing.
full corporate career
Oh, wow.
But it
9 to 5, like Monday to Friday?
yeah.
and beyond.
And so what happens if, like, I want to see a $3 million house at 11 a.m. on Wednesday?
Exactly what you said happened. It unfortunately left a bad taste in clients' mouths, and the mouse is still in my head. But it left a bad taste in their mouths because they wanted to be able to go see it on their schedule and when it's convenient for them, not me, because I've got a meeting scheduled from X time to X time, and then I've got to prepare for it. So I lost clients straight up.
Yeah.
I was able to do it because it was a side hustle for me. I was buying and selling homes with my dad and some of his friends, and they were doing infill development and whatnot. But in order to really do this business, and I didn't fully appreciate it until I got into it full time, you have to be full time. You know, just because if you are lead generating and you're looking and you're prospecting and then you're doing the showings, the offers, and you don't have admin, oh my God. Absolute chaos.
You have to sharpen your skills. Like, you have to continuously.
We got
Part-time, it happens in our business. And I mean, we speak to the full-time agents, but at the end of the day, people have to pay their bills. Not everyone can transition. Not everyone has the support or the ability for the credit. So we still love you too, part-time agents. We promise.
But I get it, though. And like, I get that has to happen. But, you know, it's just...
but there's a reason why you are where you are.
Yes.
It's that full-time mentality. Part-time agents don't get to $300 million in sales.
Yes.
Justin does.
Trust.
Okay, so off of that, where are you looking to go with your career? Where do you see yourself going? Continuing to lead the team?
We all want to be you. So what do you want to do?
Tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly just think more scaling my business, basically, kind of from where it is now. I don't really have some crazy, much higher sort of goal from that, but just more scaling. So and the only way to do that is obviously having great team members with me and great support and et cetera. But that's really, I think, the sort of best way. I went from a stage of doing 75 leases by myself to now I have team members doing 75 leases in a year. And, you know, and then the next stage for them is probably like all of the first time home buyer, you know, sort of condo transition, and maybe they're obviously training the next young stud in the business to be able to do all of the leases and stuff as I continue to scale. But I would say in the last couple of years now, I've transitioned heavily that I'm more of a percentage of a lister agent than a buying agent, which is just part of, again, growing in the industry and seeing that constantly sort of grow, because I think that really it goes from leases to buyers everybody always has more buyers than sellers that they normally work with, right? So getting that transition to more sellers than buyers was a big step here.
That sounds awesome.
May I ask, because we know you're such a hustler and we know like you love the hustle. You don't just hustle because you have to. You love the hustle.
Of course.
Will you slow down if you scale? Will you be like, you know what, I'm going to take a couple more days off? Or do you think you'll still be grinding because you love it?
I don't know if I ever, like literally someone on my team, like I was helping her in multiple offers and the offer presentation happened to be last week. I think it was game 5 of the Leafs. Did anybody watch the hockey at all?
Yes.
You watched? Okay. So it was game 5 last week. And for some reason, this agent and their sellers don't care about hockey because they made the offer presentation at 7:00 at night, exactly when the game started. And I was helping a member of my team. I coached her on every bit of the process to what she has to do in any situation. And by 6:00, there was already 24 offers registered on this property. And I went through every piece. But yeah, in the middle of the game, was I still working and texting back and forth the entire time? Yeah. It's just we have to, and I love it, and a lot of people won't do that, and I think my team members obviously appreciate that, but also the client does, and I also just know that out of 70,000 realtors, I'm sure there is at least 50% that would not be interested in that and not close the deal.
For sure.
And that's so I don't know if I'll ever lose because the hustle's just kind of
it's in you.
It's in me, and it'll always be there, and I don't like to say no to things. Unless again it doesn't make sense, and that's where we always talk about if this person that wants to sell their property with the unfinished basement, if they're like more than 10% unrealistic on their price, I let them fail with someone else first and then call you.
Got it.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Yes. Off of that, the last question that I have for you is
yes.
What excites you about the future of our industry the most?
I think it never was like this before. I think how many like under 40, I can say that here, under 40.
Totally.
Please
do.
Yes. Under 40, the amount of success for people, like this industry, I hear that it used to be really all the money was made between 40 and 60. And I can't believe how many young people are doing so well and making, substantial livings in this business. And that's because I think that technology is changing. The older generation has to adapt, and a lot of them don't or haven't. And a lot of them are, obviously, baby boomers that are going to retire soon in this. So I just think that you got some people that are going to be like huge success for 20, 30 years constantly in this business. So that's what I think is really amazing. And I think that way back, there wasn't opportunities for, I think, people like 25 years old, to get opportunities to be in front of these sellers that have big listings or big purchases to do it. But now there's a lot more trust because I think it really comes down to confidence and data, and there's so much more information out there than there ever was before.
And also social media has really helped with that. And the fact that the 25-year-old can go and put their face out there. And obviously the quality content has to be there as well for them to, for clients to know, like, and trust them. But I think that that's definitely been an advantage to young people in the industry in getting a place at the table versus the older people. So yes. Going off of that, I know I said it was my last one, but going off of that, are you going to, because you are such an undercover agent for so long, I have noticed that you have been ramping up your social media accounts and whatnot. Do you plan? I have.
I get
I've seen
when
them.
I see. It's like Justin has a story and I'll see your videos. I'm like, yes.
I love it. Yeah. Do you have any plans to expand on that or?
If I do, it will be all like outsourcing hiring. Because the one thing that maybe you guys don't know about, technology, I am awful at. I don't even know how to like add a row on Excel. Like I am terrible at technology. I know my numbers like inside out. Like I can calculate I could tell you right now, if you put 20% down on a $1.7 million property, I could tell you the mortgage amount, the taxes, utilities, what it's all going to, and I can add it up in 2 seconds. So numbers and math have always been my specialty. I somehow I chose to take calculus and everything as electives in university. Wow. I'm kind of crazy like that, but numbers are for me, but not technology. So if I do that, it will be somebody else handling most of the technology. I couldn't even put this podcast together. Like, there's no way I know how to do that.
But you do have the broadcasting, so you're just the face.
I'm the face, but I need everybody else.
But you know your strengths.
Yeah,
and I think that's really important.
Which is nice.
Yeah. And you got to hire for the rest of the things. That's what I always recommend to people. Like, a lot of people try to wear 12 different hats. And I would argue that if you hired 11 other people to do those things, you could do way more with what you know best at.
You're the
Agreed.
bottleneck of your business.
It's Jen's favorite quote lately.
Love it.
Totally. Okay,
Okay.
so we have one last segment to this, and it's called the Rare Roundup. So we're
Okay.
going to fire off 3 questions to you.
Yes.
And you have to answer them in, 3 words or less. Whatever comes off the top of your head.
Wow. Okay.
Wow, pressure.
Number 1, you ready?
Yeah.
What is your favorite GTA neighborhood?
I'm going to say South Hill,
Ah,
I like that choice.
nice. Okay.
Casaloma area.
Oh,
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Love
Tugs at
it.
See,
my
we said
heartstrings.
1-word answers or like 3-word answers, but why? Can I know why?
Can I
Okay,
expand
go
on
for it.
why? Like,
Go
it's my
for it.
favorite
Yeah,
area.
okay,
Like,
go.
I mean, it's like such a great central area. My favorite street is in that area, Ardwald Gate. Okay.
Beautiful.
I'd buy on that street if I could one day, but I think they start at about 20 million.
Okay, then.
Casual.
Yeah, especially the back 2 lots on the dead end that kind of are on a cliff
No,
looking
you don't
over
know
the
exactly
whole
what
city.
you're looking for. No,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
So yeah,
I need to go
Nice.
look at a map.
DuPont and Spadina, basically.
Sounds lovely.
Okay, right,
Sounds
sort of
beautiful.
in that sort of spot. That would be my dream spot.
Love
But
that.
with a chef.
You're gonna
Okay.
do
So
it.
you, at
I
that
can
point,
see that
how
happening
can you
for
not?
Right.
I can see that happening
Yeah.
for you.
So speaking of food, okay.
Yes.
As a busy realtor, we know you're always on the go. What's your fast food go-to?
When you're like eating in your car.
I really if there's a car that ever comes out with a built-in microwave, I'm buying that car because I think it would be clutch.
Genius.
But go to I literally honestly just wherever I can go grab something, I on the go I will. My favorite fast food in all of the GTA is definitely Golden Star. You guys ever been?
No.
What's
No.
that?
Have to go.
What is it?
Tell me.
Have you been to Burger Shack
Yeah.
on Eglinton?
What's wrong with me? No.
Okay, this is better, but
I love
there's some
food.
more.
Tell me.
So Golden Star is like young and just north of Steeles.
Okay.
Okay.
It has been around since I think in 1964. There's something on the sign, so somewhere like that.
Okay.
But it's like just a burger joint that's like 4 or 5 generations that they've just passed down. They also own the land there. 1 million people have tried to buy it, and I don't know why they don't sell it and then just move across the street because it would get a huge.
It sounds like Johnny Burgers.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say they
and
refuse to
Like,
sell.
it was-
what's with these
yeah,
burger
I'm sure.
places?
They know.
I'm sure in the 1960s it was the most north
Mhm.
of anything that existed.
Mhm.
But it's just north of Yonge and Steeles. You have to go.
Golden Star. I'm totally
yes,
going
get
now.
the homemade burger, not the frozen
Of
burger.
course.
Okay,
Get the homemade
absolutely.
real burger.
Love
Sounds
it.
delicious. Thanks.
Okay.
Good tip.
One more, and
Yes.
this one's got to be epic. What makes an agent rare?
And I need 3 words here.
Okay, no, just go
Just
for
let
it.
it go.
Let it go. Let it go. What makes an agent rare?
What makes an agent rare? I would say you really have to want to be creative. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes there's 70,000 of us. I know I keep saying that, but what differentiates me? Like when you go to a buyer consultation or a listing appointment, what is different about us compared to somebody else? And I think it's really the creativity of our approach, understanding what the client's needs are and obviously being able to listen and ask good questions to them as well. But I really think it's, if you look at our brokerage and everybody here, it's so unique. You got people that, have the way they approach listings is with, putting dogs and whatever in videos. And you got other people that, we also got an age from our office from people that are in their early 20s to Steve and his, don't kill me, I don't
love
know.
Steve. It's okay.
I would guess his early 60s, but
Totally.
all right. It's the thing I love best about our office too is it's a fun vibe and so were you talking rare our office or rare
In
agents?
general,
Just
what
in
do you
general.
think makes an agent rare? Like what makes them special?
That's what I would really say. It's the creativity because I love the fact that even though there are 1 million RICO rules out there are no rules in terms of the way one agent has to conduct their business over another. And
How they
so,
show up, yeah.
Yes. So that's what I think is really cool about an agent and that we don't have a boss. There's no right or wrong way to sell a property or to list a property. And a seller can also, they don't have to sell their property if they don't want to. So you can list a property for $1, which we've seen lots to do out there. Or you can list it for way more. That's what I love about this industry is that people always say well, what's the property worth? I know it's cliche, but it's worth what the buyer's willing to pay. I could show you 1 million different comparables, but no one house is identical to the other.
It's true.
Agreed.
I love that answer. Thank
Okay,
you.
Sorry, it wasn't 3 words.
That's okay. That's totally fine. We're learning as we go here. It's all good. But that is a wrap on Justin Bregman. Justin, thank you so much for being here.
Having me.
Thank you.
This was awesome.
And sharing all of these golden nuggets for agents and potential clients, some sellers and buyers out there. But it was absolutely wonderful, and I loved being able to collaborate with you.
Yeah.
We were your first podcast. I could not be more honored, if I'm being
I'm
honest.
honored. This is amazing, and can't wait to see how it turns out. But no,
I'm actually really excited because normally when we see each other, it's always like, fast, gotta go, see you later, or there's a lunch and everybody's just, eating and then we leave.
Yes.
So it's been nice to actually like connect
Capture
and
some
see
time.
Yeah, and see where we actually are very alike.
But that's what I also love about like our industry too. Sorry if we don't have enough time,
go.
but is that like
good.
within our brokerage too, like everybody is there to help people. And like,
Exactly.
people like Dave and Brett from downtown call me all the time for questions about different things. And I ask them too. Like when I was at Royal LePage, like I had a question and like people would like want to like cover their screen. They don't want to show me like what they're doing or their clients. And it's like, we all got to work together in this business. Like, I'm dealing on a deal right now that's gone back and forth on 7 signbacks. But like the other agent, like we're like kind of on the same team where we all want, like it's 4 buyer, seller, and 2 agents, but it's 4 people that all just want to all get together and do this here. No one's like, bad talking to anybody or trying to just try to have ego. I think that's the problem with there are some people that have ego in this business and just need to feel like they need to win. But the way to win is for everyone to be happy.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the best things I think about Rare is because I think everybody just in our office is there to collaborate and help when they can.
Amazing.
100%.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Coming, I thought that was what was going to happen, but actually living it has like been really awesome.
And that's the whole purpose of this podcast. We just want to collaborate. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
To everyone listening, watching, thank you so much for taking the time. And if you could please subscribe, follow, and we can't wait to be back next week.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Yay.